Cavalier faithful, welcome back on into Cavs Encapsulated. Justin is next to me. Logan is down below. Couple of things here. Nothing crazy, except another 12-game winning streak from our Cleveland Cavaliers, except a 52-10 record, except the first seed in the East still 8 games up against Boston, except clinching a playoff berth on March 5th, 2025. The only piece of research I didn't do was figuring out when the earliest playoff berth clinch was. I'm sure the Warriors had to clinch it earlier and the Bulls in their respective seasons, but I just wanted to see where we stacked up as far as the date because the first week of March seemed absolutely insane to me. We're going to talk the streak. We're going to talk DeAndre Hunter. I actually want to do a rapid fire discussion about what awards the Cleveland Cavaliers could win this year. I know there's probably only discussions for a couple of categories, maybe 3. I want to talk about the remainder of the year, what you guys want to see, who you might want to see in the first round of the playoffs, and what the path might look like. And then we'll go on with our lives. So 12-game winning streak, most recent win coming last night, and another quality win is what I've been calling it against Miami Heat, 112-107. This is kind of how this streak has shaked up right here, as far as all the way back to February 5th, starting with Detroit, which I'm sure you guys remember was a Darius Garland buzzer beater, all the way down to this Miami Heat game. Justin, if you could describe the aura, the momentum, I want to hear your thoughts.
The aura is off the charts. Now the month of February is a crazy one because, again, Jeff, you did your research and everything. As the you know, big rotation guy here, I did my research. Month of February, another beautiful month in the minutes per game category, with only one player topping 30 minutes total. Again, you go out and you make a 2-for-1 deal. You think, hey, that's going to slash into the rotations a bit. There's going to be some more minutes added on to the big name guys. And guess what? Not really. Kenny Atkinson, you go out and you get another free agent guy and you play him some meaningful minutes towards the end of this month. And so Hunter, again, comes in. He fills an immediate need, an immediate role. But then you also allow guys like Merrill a few more minutes. You get Okoro back into the lineup, and you give him some more minutes. Wade's getting back into the swing of things. And once again, you go and you say, hey, wow, sure, the Luka trade is definitely the biggest trade that, happened at the deadline. But if we're going to talk about most impact, I mean, again, the Cavs continue to blow the discussion out of the water in a lot of these categories of what they're doing this season. And again, they go out, they make that move. The rotations are still excellent. The play from individuals is still amazing. Again, don't think Darius Garland is having a very great month of February, despite some, late game performances and whatnot. But that being said, Donovan Mitchell really starting to put it on again. Evan Mobley really offensively just putting it together consistently night in and night out, which is a great thing to see. And again, that's why I say the aura is off the chart. Any guy on any given night can really kind of just pop off for this team. Hunter and Jerome, the two guys off the bench, single-handedly won us a game where, that's typically not the case for a team. So we're loaded, and I think that's probably the word to use of just like moving forward. We're loaded, and I think that's the move going into the playoffs.
Logan, as far as me and you and kind of our relationship with this roster and this franchise, I would say the past 3 or 4 seasons, I think what we really wanted to see this year was consistency, like all season consistency. We wanted to see post All-Star break adjustments and changes, and we wanted to monitor that. And most importantly, we wanted to see something happen at the trade deadline. I want to hear you talk about all that. I want to hear you talk about the streak and just what we're witnessing here from these Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, good morning, boys. I think it's been a month and a day since I've been on the channel. Lots of things changing in my life, but it's good to be back. One thing that hasn't changed is the Cavaliers are pretty good at basketball. 3 separate 12-game winning streaks this season.
Crazy.
Yeah, you're right, Jeffrey. Let's start right at DeAndre Hunter, right? Because that's when this third one roughly started. This 3rd-game winning streak. He's everything the Cavaliers needed, right? What we said and what I said is the best teams in the NBA make moves at the deadline. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you have all the momentum in the world and everything is working. You make some kind of move, some piece that you think is going to help you down the road to bigger things. Everything makes perfect sense now. Like, where's Thanos at? Everything perfectly balances all it should, right? I mean, that's where we're at right now. What I love the most is not only did you bring in a piece that is a hell of a shooter, really good defender. You also brought in Ty Jerome's best friend, and you said, hey, Ty, are you having fun out there? Well, here's your best buddy to also play with you right off the bench. It works wonders for this Cavalier team. You could start Hunter, and Jeffrey talked in our group chat the other day, says he wants Hunter starting in the playoffs.
Yep. I'm
fine with it. I'm okay with it. But personally, if he wants to be this effective and give us 16 to 18 to 19 to 32 points like he had the other night off our bench with Ty, leave him right where he is. Continuing on, Kenny Atkinson. I mean, anybody else tired of talking Kenny? I'm personally not. I mean, this is everything I'd ever wanted. This is a Cavalier team that, like Jeffrey tweeted out the other day, I have not gone into a Cavalier game in a long time, been like, oh, we might lose this one. Like, I've been supremely confident. First time since those LeBron days when we were playing the Memphis Grizzlies or Toronto Raptors on a random Tuesday afternoon after I get off of St. Ed's, get off at St. Ed's High School. I'm going home ready to watch LeBron slap the crap out of guys. Like, this is the most confidence I've had in a Cavalier team in a long time. Does it still run through Cleveland, though, right? Does the East run through Cleveland again? Or is Boston the team who has been there, who has experienced all that, who is the defending champion? I think that's still a discussion the Cavaliers have to have. Obviously, they can beat the Celtics. I totally, truly believe that. I do think they are the best team in the NBA. But come playoff time, the dynamic change. That's all I need to see from this Cavalier team.
Well, I put this out yesterday, too, and I said, Miami, I think, is a good matchup against us. I think here's my thing. Anybody with a competent big can play us to a certain extent. I think we're better than every other team in the league right now, albeit maybe except a fully healthy Thunder team. I think they're a little bit more on our level than what I've seen from Boston. Now, is Boston going to turn up in the playoffs? Sure. As far as regular season, competent bigs, they could play us at a decent pace. And you've kind of seen that, I think, with some of these late game rotations that Atkinson has been showing. I'm glad you brought that up, Logan. You've seen a lot of Jared Allen on the bench and Hunter playing the 4. Okay, I'm cool with that. I'm fine. In Kenny we trust. With that being said, I put this out last night on X. I would personally love to see Miami round 1. I don't really want. It would be nice. It would be nice for rest. It'd be nice for morale. I get this sounds counterintuitive. I don't want like a round 1 cakewalk. I don't want to play 7 games again like Orlando, but I would like a card 5-game series where we win 4-1 and all the games are close. Like, I don't want a clean sweep round 1 unless this truly is the team of destiny and they go, they lose 1 or 2 games in the playoffs all year and hoist Larry O'Brien. That'll be fine with me too. But I mean, just look at some of these stats for this winning streak. 126.75 points per game, allowing 110.83, defense rating of 105.52. I mean, these last couple of games have been close, but some of these teams and even the good teams, they just haven't had a chance. When
the Knicks game,
the Knicks didn't have a chance.
Freaking crazy. I mean, truly.
The Knicks, we're playing these good teams, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies. You're just like, oh, we're so much better than them. We go down 22 points to Boston and win in Boston. That is
5-3.
That is not happening.
Minutes in.
Dude, that's not happening in the last 2 seasons, of this Cavaliers roster. It's simply just not happening. I'm throwing it back to Justin. I want to talk just some of these guys. I have some baseline stats here. I wish I would have got more than this, but I think it's interesting. Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen. Obviously, Allen doesn't take threes, but what jumps off the page here? I want you to dive in kind of to the Darius and Donovan, difference in February and just what needs to happen as far as these 4 guys when it comes to as soon as we hit the ground running in the playoffs and the rest of the regular season.
I think my big issue for Garland is just like the free throw inconsistency. Like he's had some
He made
big
2
ones.
last night, though. I was pleased.
He had 2 last night, of course, but he's had some in the last few where he just hasn't been, very consistent at the free throw line. He was at some point in the season a 50, 40, 90 guy. I don't think that's very likely to happen at this point in the season, but for him and Donovan, I think the big thing ramping up going into the playoffs is that Darius probably needs to be taking a lot more threes. I think the move here is going to be very heavy into Donovan's the slasher, and everyone else needs to be the kick out or dump off into the paint to Evan or Jared Allen type guy. Otherwise, I really think that in the position that we've been the last few years, we haven't had the greatest 3-point shooters. I don't really believe that Karis LeVert was a 3-point threat. I don't really believe that outside of Max Strus, you were going to toss Darius Garland the ball last season in the post off season, and hope that he's just going to, pull up and shoot a 3 as soon as he gets it. Now, I think that's more likely the case. Strus, more likely the case. Hunter, more likely the case. And so you created kind of and again, I'll go back to what I've kind of been saying for a long time here. The roster is complete now, but I think the roster was really gearing itself towards those kind of Golden State Warrior teams / like a little bit of the Boston Celtics, but more so where they're going to have a lot of shots go up during a game. And whether they're misses and whether they're good shots is going to be relative. We're going to talk about them during the season or during the postseason. But I think getting up more shots is what this team is trying to do. And I think it's a little bit more visible. Again, I don't think it's going right for a guy like Darius Garland in the month of February, but I think you're trying to get all the what you would say are bad takes out of the way so that when you're getting into, April and the later months, hopefully those are going in instead. So I like the approach. I really think that it's interesting to see Jared Allen kind of taking more of a back seat more now than ever.
Yep.
But I think that's what you do when you get for the first time ever, you're leaning more into roster composition, and Hunter is a real 3, and you don't have to try and play guys that are 1s and 2s at the 3 and keep Evan at the 4 and Jared at the 5 and only have them come out one at a time, So really like what's going on with the rotations. Really think that they're trying to work some playoff things into what's happening now, like Jeff said earlier.
Logan, take the core 4 obviously into the consideration. Just talk to the audience who there might be, it might be a split audience out there. 50% of people want Hunter to start. 50% of people want Strus to start. I want to hear your philosophy about, I'm assuming your position is having Strus start and Hunter off the bench. I also want to hear, because I think there's so much more nuance in the postseason than the regular season, which I think Kenny is actually prepared for adequately because he's not locked into, if this person's hurt, we're going to go this player. If this person's on a rest day, we're going to go this player. He actually does switch it around a lot. How matchup dependent is that question as well?
Well, you answered it perfectly, right? I mean, in Kenny we trust, because in my opinion, it's working very well to have. And again, that's not DeAndre Hunter. To me, it's actually Ty Jerome. Giving Ty DeAndre Hunter, I think, is actually more valuable than anything else. Because I think at many points during this season, and even, John Michaels alluded to it, many games this season, Ty Jerome has been the catalyst. He's been the guy that's actually won us a few ball games.
Yep.
And I think there were some points in the season where we had that rough LeVert day, or George Niang wasn't making his 3-pointers, and suddenly you're looking around, you're like, anybody else want to help out Ty, right? Like, it can't just be the starting 5. So when you throw a guy like DeAndre Hunter towards Ty, I think it allows Ty to play even more freely. I don't know about you guys, but I think he's shooting more lately. And I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't looked at numbers. I don't know. Like, I have zero idea what his field goal attempts are, but they feel like they're up. They feel like he's at least taking them with more confidence because he has another guy out there with him. But yeah, it's up to Kenny Atkinson. You get to that Boston series, you lose game 1, and it looked like Tatum and Brown were killing you on the wings. Maybe then you do start DeAndre Hunter, right? And I think, like you said, he's better equipped than a guy like JB Bickerstaff to make that decision and make that adjustment. And shout out to JB. The Pistons are a playoff team, and they're looking really good right now. But when it comes to adjustments, and they're more vital in the playoffs than ever before, I trust Kenny wholeheartedly with that. I want to do also one quick touch on the point before Justin was making, and he said exactly what I always thought about this Cavalier team. Donovan Mitchell is the best player, but the offense has to run through Darius Garland. And though you saw those numbers of what was it, 39% from the floor, 38% from the floor, 39% from deep, and 79% from the line, those numbers aren't fun to look at, but I do think the Cavaliers are a lot more fun to look at when Darius is running the offense. It's not the days of Donovan Mitchell run step back three anymore, right? When Darius is leading the show, he's the one in control at the controls, setting guys up, getting downhill, finding Mobley, kicking to the corner, whatever. Darius is playing with extreme confidence right now. Whether that shot is going in or out, he's continuing to shoot it because Kenny implores him to shoot it. But in addition, he's getting guys involved and getting this offense looking like what? Isn't it the most efficient offense in NBA history? Like a couple of days ago when they beat the Knicks or something?
By some of the major offensive statistics, like a top 2 offense in league history.
And that's what I'm saying. I think it's because this year the offense is running through Darius more than it has since Donovan arrived. That's nothing against Donovan. That's just how I think we're at our very best when Darius is at the controls.
I just really quickly want to touch on something with Logan. The thing about the DeAndre Hunter move that I think is like really important to note is, like you said, there would be nights, and I think it was more often than not, where we'd have an off Karras night or an off Niang night.
Yeah.
And you talk about just pairing that with Ty Jerome's numbers. It was always one of those things where you'd be like, oh, Ty just dropped 16, 18 plus. That's great. And then you'd look at the rest of the bench, and it'd be Okoro with 4 and Dean Wade with 2, or, an assortment of Craig Porter and, other smaller name guys who are only putting up, 2, 4, 6 points. Well, it really helps to have 2 guys that can consistently go off on the bench for more than 10 plus points every night in combo together. And so I think for me, that's just where, like, I feel like they have the chemistry from being, together in college and whatnot.
Cavaliers.
And just kind of working together as a duo and coming off the bench. That's why I would keep it that way. But I'm also of the mind of, like, if you wanted to bring Strus off the bench, I would just want to have the flip happen, though, of if Ty is the guy who takes more shots in comparison to Hunter coming off the bench, I would want Strus to be the guy taking more shots than Jerome coming off the bench, just because of his profile, And I think that's kind of like, if you want, like, if we really want to get into the meat and bones of it, I'd be willing to hear someone out on, like, hey, I think Strus should start, or Hunter should start, because Strus is like that firework where if he comes off the corner and he gets 3 of those around the picks, pop up and shoot the 3, and he drills those right away, that's a game changer. I wholeheartedly agree. But at the same time, what if he just clanks those, and that's where he is for the night. So that's my only 2 cents on that.
We have come so far, right? I mean, you add DeAndre Hunter and suddenly the possibilities are endless. It's good problems to have.
Yep.
Before, we're like, when Strus was hurt, we're like, Dean Wade's the guy. That's the starting 3. And then Dean was playing good basketball, and we said, well, when Strus returns, does Dean really even need to go to the bench? Now Dean Wade is kind of the afterthought, and I still think Dean Wade is very valuable to this basketball team when he's on the floor. But we didn't even talk about his name in this discussion, right? We're talking Strus, we're talking Hunter, because there's real construction here. But again, I trust Kenny. Need to stop on defense. Someone needs to get to Tatum, or someone needs to get to Chet, or whatever you might have. Dean Wade is going to be there to do just that. I mean, these Cavaliers are deeper than I think I even give them credit for, because I think so many names on our bench, the casual NBA fan doesn't know them. Sure, you know Jerome, you know Hunter. Do you know Dean Wade? Do you know like a Sam Merrill? Do you know an Isaac Okoro? Like, we even talk Isaac Okoro, technically our starting 3 for a couple of years. When you're talking early into this rebuild, like true rebuild, 2021 and beyond. there's just limitless possibilities somehow at the 3. Hunter is the real true 3 of all those players just listed, but it's nice to have options on the wing for once.
Yeah, honestly, I mean the Hunter acquisition. Justin made this point earlier in the show. You get rid of you ship off 2 players, and you're thinking, oh, that might constrain the bench. It's actually done the complete opposite because you've just moved everyone's floors up. So before we were like, all right, Dean Wade has to play good. Whatever we get from Niang is a bonus. Now it's like, we know Hunter's floor. Whatever we get from Dean Wade is a bonus.
Exactly.
Plus other guys. So at the end of the day, I don't know. I just think that was an absolutely masterful move from Kobe Altman and company.
You have to give him credit, Jeffrey. Say it.
I did. Put the thumbnail up there. The thumbnail said masterclass. But the more I thought about that predicament, and I was like, the Cam Johnson noise was always so loud, but what we were going to have to give for him made less sense than what we needed at the time. So I'm glad that, you don't always have to. It would be nice to get on base. You don't always have to hit a home run. But the last couple of deadlines, we're like sitting up there and we're like, oh my gosh, nothing is even happening at these deadlines besides a buyout guy.
Pissing me off.
Well, when your last deadline is Karis LeVert and a pick,
seriously,
first round picks and Ricky Rubio for a kind of a meaningless season, it's one of those things where it's like, you're begging for something outside of the Donovan move. The thing I wanted to go back to with Jeff, and this is my final point. I love that everyone just gets bumped up because CPJ was one of those guys we talked about at the beginning of the season, just being like, where does he fall in this rotation?
Yeah.
We literally can't play him because of who's where and how we construct this roster. Now he plays legitimate, significant minutes in the rotation again. And what's his first name? Green.
Javonte
Green, baby. Yeah, I like him.
Again, we've talked about in previous seasons. Marcus Morris Sr. He comes in and plays kind of decent for the most part, but not like fantastic. Not anything I'd really go home about. This guy, I already feel like he's a rotational player on this playoff team. And that's someone that we just picked up a week ago.
Yeah.
So
and that's honestly, at the end of the day, like a complacent GM could have been like, oh, we just used a first round pick on Jalen Tyson. He's right there. But do you really want a rookie maybe having to make an impact in the playoffs? Probably.
All about Jalen Tyson.
Probably not. But I mean, that's the thing. Like you very well could have Tyson play meaningful minutes and he might perform. But do you really want to, when your window is like, hey, the window's open, like I'm looking through it, like it was open this much the last couple of years and now it's like as big as the screen. Like, do you really want a rookie may or may not deciding your fate? I want to do one thing, a devil's advocate, just really, really quick, because it's interesting. It's been brought up to me and I like hearing from other basketball people, so I want to entertain it a little bit. I want to do rapid fire awards, just really quick, only on 3 topics, and then we're going to do predictions. Let me lay this out to you. Let's try to keep this a little brief because I have a feeling I know what you guys are going to say, but I'm curious. Donovan Mitchell has averaged 31 minutes per game this season. Darius Garland is at 29.8. Evan Mobley is at 30.2. Is there, this is gonna sound like me nitpicking, yapping, being, sounding like a hater. I just want to put the question out there. Is there any thought in the back of your mind where if we get into a tight series with a good team and these guys have to play like closer to 40 minutes a game, do you guys have any concern with that? Like, are they not playing enough?
I think there's a little bit of concern just because it's a fatigue thing. You get deeper into those
harder playoff minutes.
Once it becomes more than just game 1 and game 2 that you're like, oh man, I'm playing 5 more minutes than I usually do. It shouldn't be a problem. You get into games 4, 5, 6, and 7, and you're like, oh, all right, I'm feeling it in my legs a bit more. I think that's I think 100% that's something that they need to ramp up.
I can see your point. Because you're right, it's not a game like a singular game basis. It's if a series goes deep, do you have the legs? But I'll counter with this. I don't really fucking care because
you think the philosophy is going to stay the same.
I think the numbers on this team in clutch time, final 5 minutes of a 5-point game, are otherworldly good. So to me, then this team gets deeper in the latter stages of any game, they play better. What was that score? 107 against Chicago with 6.5 to go.
That was crazy.
39 to 114 or something like that.
Yep.
And that's just one instance, but this Cavalier team raises their game. I mean, last night against Miami, what, a 5-point game with like 2:20 to go. It's like, yeah, they're going to win. Who cares? Like, they are just so good in the deeper stages of the game. I think they just raised their level. But like I said, I will give you that. We see a series that goes 6 or 7 games. Do these guys look a little bit uncomfortable in those moments? As of right now, no, because I think everything, like I said, is perfectly balanced as all things should be. And that's Kenny Atkinson, the Thanos, that's doing all this. But yeah, I don't have anything else on that point. I just now I'm rambling. But that's my point. I mean, this team raises their level in those bigger moments in the latter stages when everybody else is tired and you've already done the suicides and you're on the free throw line trying to get practice over with, right? Yep. These guys thrive in those moments. So, and that's what has me excited more than anything.
All right, Justin, yes or no? Will Ty Jerome win Sixth Man of the Year?
Yes.
Logan?
No.
Yeah, I think they'll give it to Pritchard.
And I think he should, but I don't think they're going to give it to him.
Yep.
Because, and the reason is, DeAndre Hunter's also on the Sixth Man of the Year list. Yep. They're not going to choose between one or two of those Cavaliers. They'll probably go with Peyton Pritchard. And I don't like it. Because I think Ty should get it, but that's just...
It's also like Boston. Oh, Boston. And he just went for 40.
Got to give the green guys something, right? Yeah.
Justin, will Kenny Atkinson win Coach of the Year?
That's easy, yes.
Logan?
Yeah, not even a question. I think JB is going to give him a run for his money, but no.
I think JJ is probably the closest person.
JJ also's got a shot.
JJ's a good point.
Kenny's got to have it.
I think if Kenny doesn't win it, that's
if they gave Steve Kerr all those coaches of the year or whatever for those Warriors teams that were stacked out of their mind, I think Kenny deserves it just as much here.
Absolutely. Here's the one that excites me, even though people are going to call it a Mickey Mouse Award winner. I don't really care. Justin, will Evan Mobley win Defensive Player of the Year?
I'm going to say yes, but I do have thoughts about it.
Logan?
I'd say if you asked me that like a month ago before the people like started really buying into the Cavalier hype, I think I'd say no. I think more so now I could say yes. I think once we got 3 All-Stars, as soon as you have that all-star on your resume, then you're taken more seriously with those awards. I would say it's more likely than it's not. I'm going to say no, knowing how these things usually end up going.
Yep.
But I do think Evan has just as much of a case as someone like – isn't Jaren Jackson Jr. currently the leader for that award?
They're like 1 and 2 respectively. They're like 1 and 1A. But people, Wemby was going to win it. Well, shit happens.
I think people are also going to try and make the argument that like a guard's going to need to get it this year because Wemby's going to own the award for the rest of his career. So.
Might be some narratives. All right.
I do hate that that's how some of these awards are actually decided, though, is narratives sometimes are very much pushed.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no, but I do think he should win it. Same with a tie.
All right, let's flip over. Do you see all the green? Look at all this green.
When's the last time I picked anybody but the Cavs? Because
you picked the Pistons, and me and you picked the Pistons, Logan, but I think that we were sharp that game. We did not really deserve to win that game, but it's kicked off a 12-game winning streak, so here we are. That would have been back-to-back L's, too, which is interesting, but look at all this. Look at this.
Back-to-back L's, Jeff? Was that you who's doubled red there?
I took back-to-back L's, right? Yeah, I'm on the left.
Logan. Yeah, Logan, okay. Justin, you're in the middle. This is me on the far right.
Are we gaining any ground on him with all
tight.
the guesses?
It's tight, but...
God. Oh, we're tied, Jeff. Oh, God.
Logan reflects the record of the Cavaliers. We have 3 games before next Thursday at the Hornets, at the Bucks, and against the Nets, who have surprisingly played us well. The Bucks are so difficult to tell if we're going to beat them by 10 or if we're going to beat them by 30 because I don't know whoever plays for them. The Hornets are kind of a disaster area, but we all know that. Anybody volunteer to kick us off? I have a feeling I know what's going to be said.
First off, I'd like to say that anybody who's out there being like, we haven't really seen them make many predictions on live YouTube, whatever.
Do you need to see it happen? It's pretty straightforward.
We text before the game, Cavs.
Sometimes right after tip. Sometimes we miss
right after tip, and I'll give you that. But like, it's definitely a lot harder when you're on the spot 3 games in a row. You don't know if there was an injury. You don't know if this or that happened. Sure, I'll give you that. but we have been consistently just being like, why would I pick anybody else but the Cavaliers? Plain and simple. Anybody else who's doing this little game on their podcast or YouTube channel probably have a similar record.
I don't think anybody else does this, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But Logan, that's you volunteering to go first, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's me. Yeah, that's all I ever want to do.
Justin, unfortunately, we have to pick against the Cavs here. I think if we're gonna win this, but
we don't have very many games left to do it.
No, 20 games.
I honest to God, I'll make it interesting, but I think I probably could say Cavs the rest of the season and probably lock up the win.
Me too.
I will say Cavs for at Hornets. I'll give you that.
Okay.
I'm conflicted about this Bucks game. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward for me. Even though I think I just put this in Justin's spot. Not that it matters.
I was looking at that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, sorry, Justin.
Did he just do that because he knows I'm going to say it?
Co-opted this. Oh, okay, I'll change you to Hornets, Bucks, and Nets. Sounds good.
I just wanna see what Logan's going to do here. If there's any point in changing the answer or not.
Why are you so worried about it?
I go Cavs for the first one, but I'm waiting for the Bucks answer.
You guys think this is going to be a good game? Maybe it might be. It's on the road. I guess they have Kuzma these days.
Left to change.
I'm going to be a real. You guys know me. I'm a purist, though. I will pick what I actually think before trying to win the standings.
I think personally, if we're going that way, I'm going to go Bucks then. See, that's why I get. But this is what's going to happen though.
This dude's snapping the streak.
Go Cavs after this now.
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't lose a game the rest of the year.
Okay, that's fair.
32 game winning streak.
We're gonna start resting guys eventually.
Nope. Yeah, and Jalen Tyson, dog. Javonte Green, dog. Craig Porter Jr., dog. It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
It would be interesting to see what the Bucks game is, just because they feel like the games that they're playing playoff guys, that they're bringing guys back in and making sure that they're in. So,
if you want to go down to the next game and go ahead and give me Cavaliers Dare.
I can't believe we're actually talking about this game against the inferior Milwaukee Bucks, who are 36-25. We're talking about the 4 seed right now.
You're talking about practice. If you'd like to,
they are good at home though. They're 21-9 at home. They're
entertain me for a second here, Jeffrey. I can see Kenny having a lot of games coming up here where he rests 1 or 2 of the core 4 every now and then. I think Donovan or Darius or like Evan got his day yesterday. Donovan got it the other day.
So this is the best thing I think Silver has done. I have to consult numbers. I don't know how close we are, but I think we're getting into the threshold games for awards. I don't know how many he could do. Don't you have to play 65 games for awards?
There's a lot of guys that haven't missed a ton of games, right?
Yeah, but Allen hasn't. Darius might have missed like 10 or some games.
I don't know that Darius is going to win anything. I mean,
well, I don't think you can't get first or second teams though.
Evan's the only guy I'd be worried about resting at this point.
Yeah, but you don't want Darius to get like second or third all team. Maybe he just isn't that. Maybe he isn't that good. Maybe I'm just overvaluing him. But he could get an all NBA team maybe.
I don't think he's. I love the guy. I don't think he's been that good.
That's Jeff, fair. This is your chance to get a game back. I'm gonna go Bucks.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's why I can't go before him.
Let's go.
A vintage Damian Lillard performance coming.
Oh God, with him all like this, corniest bit in the league.
If Jeff gets a game up on me,
corniest gimmick. Holy crap.
Justin, you have a chance to change your answer right now if you'd like.
No. I went first.
I guess I was wrong. Justin, you don't get a chance to change your answer.
No changing.
Not changing the answer.
No changing the answers.
I just have a weird feeling about that Bucks game, especially because
I have a weird feeling about that game too. But I think
because we usually whenever we get to 13, so obviously we started the season 15-0 this year.
Yeah.
But before that, we tied a 13-game winning streak like 3 or 4 different times in LeBron's second stint in Cleveland, and we could never get past that. I just get the sense
that's the fall off.
13 against Charlotte, and we won't get further than that. That's just, I don't know. That's just the weirdness in me. I predicted Cavs like 95% of this season, but for some reason that's 6:41 a.m. in Los Angeles, California right now. I'm acting a little different.
Well, guys, I'm hearing it in my ear. I just got breaking news from Adam Silver that 2 of the officials for the NBA Finals have already been announced for 2025.
God.
I hope you guys are excited.
Dude, that was pathetic.
I can't
mean,
wait. I can't wait. Natalie Sago, Jenna Schroeder, some of the best in the business. All right. Final thoughts. Logan, do you want to wrap up on that?
I just do. Like, I'm sure they're very kind people. And you know what? I wouldn't even consider them bad officials in the past, but on that night, they were prime Shaq and Kobe working together to try to dismantle that game. I mean, that was moving on. Okay. We won the game, so it doesn't matter. I'd probably talk about it more if we lost. But that was bad. Final thoughts. This has been like just truly a magical season. And I've told you guys before, I'm an optimistic yet realistic sports fan. And the realistic person in me is like, when does the playoff collapse happen? And I'm pissed, right? But I'm optimistic this Cavalier team is very, very different and very, very special. And I think when we got DeAndre Hunter and I got to see that on the floor, I'm like, yeah, no, this team can officially now beat anybody in the league. But again, down the stretch, it's all about health right now. If I'm Kenny Atkinson, I'm not too worried about winning any certain amount of games. Like, yeah, beating the franchise record of 66-16 to be really, really cool to do that. I think it's like, what is it, 16-5 we'd have to go, or like 15-5 or something like that to get to 67 wins. That'd be cool and dandy, but I want this team healthy going into the playoffs. That's all that matters at this point. So that's my last point. I mean, don't force it, especially like a game in Milwaukee where there could be a little bit more added oomph to it from both teams. I would be okay just kind of setting back on that game, especially because I predicted Bucks in that game. If he wants to go ahead and take the night off, that's okay with me. I think, Jeffrey, you're muted.
Justin, I am muted.
Go Cavs. That's it.
I'm hoping that my final thing is here. I'm hoping that some of the remaining demons were exercised with that Boston comeback of 22 points. I hope Kenny continues to critique and play devil's advocate because, you know, Max Drew said it last night. I thought it was amazing. They've been known for winning this year. That is like my number one indicator for a team that could win it all. Are you known for winning? Even if even if your top guys are playing like trash. Last night, I'll be completely honest with you, they looked bad in the fourth quarter, and they did not look particularly good in the last 2 minutes. They were turning the ball over and doing stuff where I'm like, what is this pass? You know, slow the game down. You look like you're speeding yourself up, still win the ball game, going away, kind of. So 12-game winning streak, best team in the NBA, number one seed in the Eastern Conference. 8-game lead with 20 games left. So
Crazy.
Lock that up. Keep people healthy, like Logan said. Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. Thought it was an absolute banger of an episode. Cavs Encapsulated back with an upload. With that all being said, we appreciate you being the pulse of it all. Peace.